All right, good morning, everybody. We had a busy January. I have a lot to go over, and if you've ever watched one of these videos, I tend to ramble and these go pretty long. So I will recommend, if you're on the trainer and you have absolutely nothing better to do, this would be a perfect time to watch this, kind of get summary and feedback on the training for the last block, as well as what's coming up and some other tips and tricks and what's going on with the club and all this exciting stuff. So I am going to talk about some of the swim testing that we've done today. I'm going to talk about some events coming up. I'm going to talk about some Sunday running. I'm going to talk about the next training block. Obviously, I look fantastic today with our brand new team kits, and we will do some more orders if you're feeling a little FOMO because I look so good. But yeah, that's what I am going to run through today. So starting with, I'm going to flip back over here. I've been sitting on this one for a little while. Our overall results as a team for the Ironman points challenge, whatever it might be. If you go to ironman.com, go to programs. Actually, I don't remember the exact, global rankings. Tri Clubs, the global rankings, and that'll bring you to this page here. And if I recall correctly, back in Victoria, which was the Northwestern Tri Club Championships, Team Zoot took that, and they won overall with a stupid amount of points. Now, they're not a real team, so it doesn't matter. But it is broken down into divisions. There are 5,393 teams overall. Most are down in the lower divisions. It's very rare unless you're a global, brand manufacturer, whatever. So we are actually in Division 5, which it's basically how many athletes raced in an Ironman event last year, and we had under 25. Year before, we had a little bit more. But if I flip over to page number 2, you can see Kelowna Triathlon Club right there. So that would be 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16th overall out of, at least in this division, 4,971 clubs. So that's pretty darn good. Congratulations, everybody. If you contributed, thank you. And if you're going to contribute this year, I am looking forward. Everyone scores points. You just have to cross the finish line. I should say that. You have to cross the finish line to score points. And again, every point matters. So we got a big race coming up in Coeur d'Alene, which I'm going to talk about in a second. If you are not connected to our Tri Club, if you go to ironman.com, sign in. I'll do this really quickly. And obviously, if you've never created an account, you have to create an account. But it should bring you to this profile page here. Click on club membership, add a club, search Kelowna Triathlon Club, and you will contribute to our overall points challenge. So again, congratulations, everybody. Some amazing performances this year. But even more important, it was a lot of fun. So the more people that train and race together, at least for me, the more fun I have. It's just a great weekend. And looks like Coeur d'Alene is going to be our big rallying 70.3. Now, I will be building more events, all the locals, of course, at Cherry. And that will be coming soon. I didn't want to overload the events right now because I do want to talk about them a little bit today, as well as some of these, or at least the current strategy for now that I'd like to take with the Sunday run, and then we'll see where it goes and progress, but I'll talk about that in a second. So Coeur d'Alene, right now we got 11 going. If you haven't indicated you're going yet, let me know. Obviously, if you're not on Facebook, whatever. But yeah, that is going to be one heck of a fun weekend. And we are just under 5 months away. 5 months as of yesterday, so time to get to work. In terms of the training plan, it's great to see. I think everybody is starting to get back into the swing of things as we kind of progress through January. The momentum seems to be building. People are coming back, and hopefully we continue that through the month of February here. But yeah, a lot of focus on speed work. Where are we? There we go. Today. All right. Moving back. So we did a lot of speed work, especially in the pool. That's going to continue through the next training block. And then, it was kind of a mix mash of some muscular endurance, some threshold work, pretty much working in the upper ends of our intensity zones. Again, that's going to continue, trying to push up that top end. Hopefully everything else will come up with it. That being said, we're always doing low aerobic work. You'd be very surprised when you look at this and you see how much intensity is in there, that you're probably still in this 80-20 balance of 80% being in this zone 1, 2, maybe low 3, and then 20% above that threshold VO2 max anaerobic. So we're going to continue on that trend as I scroll around aimlessly here looking for today again. Thank God there's that button. So speed in the pool, we're going to get into some muscular endurance work as well. Hopefully the shoulders are good. We're going to get some paddles going. If you don't have paddles, that might be something that you want to start looking at. And then we'll do a little bit of stroke work as well, but again, it's more based on keeping the coordination of the stroke or the stroke timing as you're trying to increase your stroke rate. So it'd be a lot of stroke rate stuff. Same on the Saturdays, a lot of middle distance speed work. So it'll be working that top end again. I'm going to flip over to the swim test results in a second. On the bike, we have, again, a mix mash. We got some threshold work, some muscular endurance work, some VO2 max work. So again, playing in that upper end, working on some muscular endurance. The Zwift event, if you're getting into any of those, obviously those are a mash of everything, usually finishing with a anaerobic I want to puke effort. And then we're going long on the weekends as normal. Running, we got speed, trying to work on the foot speed, bring everything up, foot speed, and then threshold. So that is what is coming up. And yeah, should be a good little block, and then we'll retest. So we've been doing a lot of work in the pool. Now I'm doing primarily this work on the Saturdays. It just works better in terms of people manageability. But we're going to continue using that 15 times 100, I'll say kind of self-assessment test set. Hopefully we see improvement over time. We did that one yesterday, so you can expect to see that if you're only swimming Tuesday, Thursdays. Saturdays, we're getting a little more in-depth into, again, some of these numbers. So I've been doing a number of 1,500 meter test sets, and I've typically shied away from them in the past because I know they're tough. They're mentally challenging. Obviously, they're physically challenging. But so is triathlon. So the more you practice this, the better you're going to get at swimming these distances and showing up. If you wonder why these, I'll say young kids are getting fast, I mean, they show up and they push themselves and they race. If you want to show up on race day in your best, then, you got to show up in workouts. So that's the reason I've kept those in there. And I thought it was really interesting to see the difference between the CSS test and the 1,500 meter test. So that's kind of what we did in the last block. I didn't want to do them back-to-back weeks, just give you a little bit of a mental break. But because we're not swimming this week, by the way, we're not swimming this week on Saturdays. Swim meet at H2O, no swimming Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But I did want to see kind of what the results of the CSS tests were, as well as the 1,500 meter tests. And I've started to break down the 1,500 meter as well to give you some feedback in terms of your pacing, where you might be dying and where you might need to, focus a little bit. So if we look at a couple individuals here, I'll pick on you, Pam. CSS, if you've never done this test, basically you swim a 400 as fast as you can and then a 200. You subtract the times. So that difference between the 400 and the 200 is important. Basically, the bigger the discrepancy so if you're swimming the 200 really fast and the 400 not so fast, it's going to indicate that you're more of a fast twitch, anaerobically driven type of an athlete. So you have a better top end, less aerobic. So you're actually going to have a slower CSS test than if those numbers were a little closer together, basically indicating that you only have one speed, which a lot of you tell me. So that's how it calculates it, or that's the difference between the two and why you might see someone who has a better result. You can actually have faster 4s and 2s overall and a slower CSS depending on that difference. So anyway, looking at Pam here, it indicated that she should be able to do a 138, which is a little quicker than some of the miles that she's been doing at a 140 average, 139. Pretty darn close, though. And then we did the 1,500, and bam, 138.52. So I couldn't get much closer than that, which is interesting in terms of the validation of the CSS test. But everyone is not the same. So you can look through yours and see the difference between, again, the CSS pace and your 100-meter pace. Obviously, you'd have to show up for both weeks to get those numbers. In this last 1500, you can see in this column here the plus minus, whether you are faster or slower than the last time. We kind of got a mix, half and half. Now, you sometimes don't show up on every day, and, that happens. And then the other interesting thing I wanted to look at was how did you pace it? So basically, this category or this chart down here, table, whatever, indicates your fastest in green. So your fastest 500 meters in green, your middle one in black, and your slowest in red. And what is the difference in terms of seconds between them? Now, obviously, we want to be as even paced as possible. So we want this number to be as low as possible. So you can see Pat did pretty good job here, only a 6-second difference. Unfortunately, the slowest one was the last one, which basically would indicate, well, we need to work on some more aerobic endurance and probably some muscular endurance. And that's probably the sake for everyone who kind of died off a bit. Some of you built through it, which was cool to see. So if you see green at the end, and some of you actually went, matched your first one, kind of died in the middle. I mentioned when we first started swimming that's kind of where you kind of lose the concentration a little bit. That's sometimes where lapping starts to happen. So you got to take all this with a grain of salt. And I will also say this is a lot of numbers, a lot of data to collect. And I am doing subtractions of your leave times, like 10, 20 seconds. So if any of this is wrong, let me know and I'll happily adjust it. Because I make mistakes too. So anyway, check out your difference. If we pick on somebody, I'll pick on you, Luca. I know you can take it. Really quick start. Not a good middle. Brought it back a little bit at the end, which was great. But 25-second difference between the first and the middle. So pacing off the get-go, may want to bring that down a bit. Oh, Jerry, I could pick on you too. That was terrible. I'm sorry. That was just going to death. So again, we'll work on some muscular endurance, some aerobic endurance, and pacing-wise started out really well. But again, sometimes you have good days, sometimes you have bad days. So anyway, you can check those out. Larissa, you're pretty darn close. Curie, 4-second difference. So anywho. The goal would be, again, keep this number as small as possible, and hopefully we can continue to see some improvements in the times overall. So, really quickly, the test set yesterday, most of you swam it quite well. Some of you swam it really bad. But again, this is training as well and learning. Learning to pace yourself and learning to swim as a team or in a lane. If you mess it up, I'm going to use a bad word, you impact your lane. So be smart. It's not just you that you're messing up everyone else behind you or in front of you. So in terms of leaving on time, that's incredibly important. Pacing it properly is incredibly important, and knowing where you should fit in your lane is incredibly important. So hopefully you learned some of those things yesterday, and we can do the next one better. Again, some lanes did it really well. Some lanes were terrible, and I can almost say it's not a valid test. Anyway, moving on from that. Practice makes perfect. Let's see. Talked about that. Moving into Sunday runs. I appreciate the feedback. If you haven't done the survey and you want to provide me feedback, whether you're interested in the runs or not, and what might make it more desirable to come out, and then any other feedback, that is in the email that this video is attached to. So feel free. I'd love your feedback on that. At the moment, I'm going to just do this as I think we're going to take some momentum, and I'd like to see who actually shows up. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, then we'll recalibrate. And in terms of the schedule, I had some great feedback, whether it's switching the runs to the Saturday and doing some longer bikes on the Sunday, which I don't think is a bad idea. And I kind of wavered back and forth. The reason it's like this at the moment is because we're usually swimming. And we actually used to run right after the swim. That's tough turnaround. 2 hours of, dry land and then an hour and a half of pretty quality swim to turn that into a run. You should take a break in between that. So that's kind of the way it's morphed. At least in the winter, people go home. If they get on Zwift later in the day, once you've recovered a bit, perfect. Some people hit it right away, but again, totally up to you. Anyway, I'm looking at it for now. I've set up these little groups in Facebook. Now, if you're not on Facebook, this doesn't help you out at all. But it is what it is. It's the tool that I have to use. So I have 3 groups, a 4:30 to 5:15. And again, that can be anywhere in between there. Sometimes we run a little faster. Sometimes we run a little slower, depending on who's in the group. And, there's walk breaks in there as well. So if you get a little ahead of somebody because you just feeling good or you want to push, you can always walk backwards the other way, rejoin up, and then, keep going. So there is a typical range. I'll say the first interval too is usually a little slower than once you kind of get into it and warmed up and ready to go. So there's a 4:30 to 5:15, a 5:30 to 6:15, and then a 6:30 to 7:15 plus. Probably I'm hoping 7:30s is kind of where you're landed. If you're a little slower than that, let me know. I can always throw another one out and or jump onto this one, and we'll see how it works. So if you plan on attending any of these, and I'm going to be attending them all, I'll be running with the 4:30 and 4:15 group, but we all meet at the same place. We'll all probably warm up together, and then we'll just slowly break apart as the run progresses. So all you need to do is click on the event, say that you're going, and then you will know if someone is going to be showing up running that pace. If you indicate you're going, please come, and if you can give a little bit of lead time so that people can make up a decision, that would be awesome as well. Nothing like locking in to commit you, regardless of how fun your Saturday night is. Maybe strategically work around that. So that's all I wanted to say on the groups. Again, if you're coming to Coeur d'Alene, love to know, and we'll start some conversations going. There will be more race events being posted soon. And again, we have these little group events on this. If, again, you're not on Facebook, just show up. That's cool too. Or get on Facebook and join the club. I may even do this on Strava, but I'm going to start with Facebook as it is a little bit, we have it set up a little more. So was that, I think that's about all I had to run through for today. But yeah, anyway, it's been a blast in January. We are rocking and rolling again. I am ready to train again. There's like a light switch on, is it Monday? Monday, my last day off. No, I'll take recovery days. But ready to get back to it. Hopefully you are starting to get the itch as well. The weather seems to be getting warm already. That would be nice if that was it for winter, but we'll see. And the last thing I want to say was thank you so much to Lexi for arranging our little cold plunge sauna night. It was a blast. Hopefully we can do something like that again in the future and more of these little social gatherings. And but again, big thanks to Lexi. Feel free if you know anything fun or want to throw stuff out there. Your club. We can make anything happen, and I'll be happy to facilitate. So other than that, hope everyone has a great week. We'll kick her back on starting next week and keep on working. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.